Boom. This is called the Atrocious Balance Changes coming to DBD in 2025. I don't know anything about it, it's blind. I do know that this guy, Choi, he's more, what would I say, objective, I feel like. So I have a feeling what it will be about. But let's see, right? Let's see. And I'll see if I agree with stuff, if I disagree with stuff. So let's see. I don't know what to expect.
How's it going, everyone? During the most recent anniversary livestream, Behavior very subtly, almost like they were hoping no one would notice, revealed a lot of upcoming changes, and some of these are, well, let's just say ambitious, while other changes feel like balanced decisions made by a committee of people who were traumatized by getting tunneled once in their life. This includes the new ability to see your teammates' builds in the pre-game lobby before a match starts, as well as some major reworks coming to both maps and keys. But that's not all, as Behavior is also reworking the MMR system to...
Because I'm reacting to this, we're not just going to watch all the way through, we aren't be pausing or anything like that. That's what a reaction is. Some people say, like, just play it. It's like, dude, you can just watch the video. So this is phase 2. This is something I've been talking about. As you can see, they're going to be doing more anti-slugging. Actually, is there any anti-slugging yet? Well, yeah, technically there is. They made it so, like I remember all iterations. I remember when you were on the floor, I think you could only recover like maybe 75% of your health. But now you can recover 99%, so they can literally just tap you when you're on the floor. And the UI tells you what level of health state they are on the floor, so you can literally wait for the UI to exactly go to them and boom. So that's kind of anti-slugging in it. Anti-tunneling, obviously, the 10 seconds invulnerability with 10% more movement speed. So they've already done anti-tunneling. They've already done anti-slugging. They've already done anti-camping. When the killer's near the hook, you can jump off the hook after a certain amount of time the killer has been close to you. So they've already got anti-slugging, anti-tunneling, anti-camping. And phase 2, they're going to be doing more anti-slugging, anti-tunneling, anti-camping for a game where they're kind of designing it on kills, not hooks. Okay. They're doing an MMR update. I think this is going to be so survivors get better teammates on average, which once again will make it harder for killer. Map and key item balancing, as they said. The killer's been getting loads of stuff now, so they're going to focus on survivor. They literally said that. It might even show it. So they're getting a map and key rework where I think the map is like Windows Opportunity or something, I think they said. And the key will be even better at all reading. And anti-cheat, obviously that's good. Quality of life, more perk presets, keyboard and mouse, prestige rewards. Why not rank, like actual MMR rewards? Reduce login steps, 2v8 while you wait. Okay. Well, let's see.
To no longer just focus on kills and escapes. Plus, we're getting more base kit built in, no perks required, anti-tunnel, anti-camp, and anti-slugging. But don't worry, killer players, as Behavior is also adding in base kit anti-gen rush too. Just kidding, of course they're not. In fact, the only truly killer-sided change coming for killer players planned in the quality of life updates, making survivors spawn closer to each other at the beginning of a match, has suspiciously been removed from the planned...
Oh, that is weird, yeah. I forgot that they said that.
...been removed from the planned quality of life changes, has suspiciously been...
Spawn rules and map offering balancing. This is phase 1 though. This is phase 1, so I think I got this wrong. You see, phase 1. They might have already done something like this. I'd have to play Survivor again and see how many people I spawn next to. So I think he's wrong with this, by the way. It's phase 1. Phase 1's already out. But it is weird that they put anti-slugging surrender. Well, surrender. You know that's in the surrender option. The anti-slugging is the surrender option, even though surrendering you don't need to be slugged. Go next prevention, I don't think they did. Hardening and body blocking prevention. They didn't do that either, did they? I guess they're still in phase 1, so they've still got another month.
Has suspiciously been removed from the planned quality of life changes altogether. How about that? So today we're going to
okay.
talk about all
Akira.
of these really bad changes coming to the game. There are some good ones too. I've highlighted them right here in green for you. The yellow is for things that
Quality of
should be
life.
good, but we don't have enough info yet for a conclusion. So let's start with being able to see your teammates' builds in the pre-game lobby. Now, once again, the devs are adding this to try to buff solo queue to match them up with the strength of Survive with Friends.
But you have to remember, this is what the community wanted. The community want solo to be as strong as Swift, and I've said it's the wrong way of doing it because Swift is already super imbalanced. If it's a really strong four-man, it's really, really, really imbalanced. It makes the majority of perks and the majority of killers unviable. Even the majority of more fun gameplay loop styles unviable. So I don't know why they're trying to buff solo to that. I've said it many times. I don't get it. You nerf solo, or you nerf Swift to go to solo level by doing an action debuff, so their objective takes longer on average because they're so much more efficient at doing it, and the chases are more consistent, and the perks have better synergy. But yeah, this is what everyone wants. This is what everyone wants.
Even though that's literally impossible. So basically,
It
what's
is
going to
impossible.
happen once this...
Also, yeah, it is impossible. You're never going to be able to get it to Swift, but pushing Swift down to solo by trying to tweak the efficiency of them doing gens like some kind of debuff or whatever would be way easier to do. Also, if you do get solo to Swift level, if they magically did do it, then all of a sudden they would need to rework fuckloads of killers and fuckloads of perks. So it's just not a smart direction, but this is what the community decided, right?
This feature is implemented since DBD is a very competitive game. Regardless of what a lot of the player base would like to pretend, players will start aggressively dodging.
A lot of the stuff they've added to this game, like the UI and all this stuff, is mainly because they're trying to get solo to Swift level. It's absolutely insane. They've almost destroyed like their original vision of the game, trying to get solo at Swift level. I said it wasn't a good idea.
Lobbies if they don't like the builds of their teammates. Like, oh, you see someone running self-care,
appreciate the 2 bits,
dodge.
What?
Soul Survivor, dodge. Someone going for an Adepta challenge? Absolutely not. Dodge.
There's gonna be loads of that.
And the worst part is, we already know how this plays out because of the recently deceased Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which also had this feature, and it completely blew up in their face. People dodged so much, the devs of TCM added in a 3-minute penalty to dodging pre-game.
Very true, very true. And it's a super entitled community, so people dodging is 100% going to be a thing. Especially if it's like a 2-man Swift as well. Like there'll be also a bit of peer pressuring too, where you're going to get people in 2-mans, people in 3-mans, peer pressuring that solo to maybe change something or do this or do that. Yep.
Lobbies, which just made people start DCing on the
And once again, they're doing all this to try and get solo to be like Swift.
loading screen and in-game instead. So you cannot punish people into cooperation. It just doesn't work. And don't forget, this is Dead by Daylight. People are already dodging lobbies now just based on cosmetics alone. Add build visibility and it's just gasoline on the fire. And those are only the egregious examples. Tryhard players will dodge anything that isn't hard meta. Also, for those who don't know, when a survivor dodges a lobby...
I wouldn't say it's tryhard. I wouldn't. I'm tryhard and sweaty. And if my teammates weren't using meta, I would still play with them. It's entitled. So I think you got that wrong.
That lobby becomes high priority, meaning it will severely loosen matchmaking parameters to fill that spot as quickly as possible to get the match started, meaning horrible match quality, with teammates who are unfairly matched way outside of their actual MMR
It's already
bracket.
doing that.
So although in theory this is a nice change, the reality is that it will crash and burn when given to the DBD community, or really any competitive community. Players want to win, and in DBD a lot of matches are decided in the pre-game lobby. So if you don't think competitive players are going to be taking that extremely seriously, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Also, to add to that point, this will not work if it's only showed in the loading screen either, because players will just Alt F4 or dashboard. In-game only is probably the best route, but it's still not very practical to research your teammates' builds during an active match where every second matters, right? Have fun reading your teammates' builds while trying not to get chainsawed. So
yeah. Nah, they could do that, and that isn't that hard. You could literally just look up and see the builds. The That would probably be the best way of doing it. Like, he's dismissed that, but I disagree. I think having the builds just here when you're in game is probably the best way of doing it. It'll have the least amount of dodges. And seeing as, you know, they want Solo to be like Swift for some reason, I still don't get it. I never will. Because Swift is imbalanced and Solo's actually close to balanced. If you get 4 good Solos and the killer goes for hooks, it's actually quite a close game. But yeah, people don't get that. They just want Gen Rush Swift where the killer has to like literally play like a comp killer and like count hooks and shit. But what is it? Yeah, showing the perks here. I don't think that's that bad of an idea if they are going through with this, which they are, like the necessary evil. That's the necessary evil direction I would go personally. So.
Yeah, this is a nice idea in theory, like I said, and a complete disaster in practice. All right, next up, maps and keys. These are getting huge buffs, like weirdly big. So during the live stream, the devs stated the reason they are making this change is because right now, basically only 2 of the available 5 items are useful. I think meaning medkits and flashlights, which is pretty
They also said they were giving too much to the killer as well. What if he's going to show that?
scary to imply.
I thought that was such a like kick in the balls when they said that.
That toolboxes maybe aren't strong enough. So if that's where their mind is at, then you can only imagine how strong they want maps and keys to become in order to compete with that level of strength. So first up is maps. Maps are being converted to essentially being windows of opportunity in a bottle. Instead of bringing the perk, you can now bring a map that will effectively do the same thing as windows of opportunity, but possibly even stronger. Let's stop to think about that for a second. Behavior is taking by far the most used survivor perk in the entire.
Is it? Wow. I remember when people said this perk were good. Can you remember? One of my many takes where people were like, no, that's wrong. Windows is fucking amazing, guys. Like, it's absolutely amazing. It allows you to see the busted shit on the maps. And then you can use it. Like,
game and allowing survivors to bring it into a match as basically a 5th perk. And I would be shocked if it doesn't come with an add-on that allows you to pass the effect onto your teammates as well. So, and this is speculation, but that's potentially 1 item freeing up 4 perk slots for the entire team while still allowing the other teammates to bring in broken items. Like, imagine the reverse of this. Like, if killers got pain resonance for free just by bringing in a lunchbox. Sounds totally fair and balanced, right? Now, if anyone watching this doesn't understand why Windows of Opportunity is such an insanely strong perk, or think it just shows you where pallets are and nothing else.
It's so funny people calling Windows Opportunity insanely strong and stuff, though, because I just remember talking about it and people were like, no, but it's only good for like new players. It's like, now people are saying it's insanely strong. How the table, well, I should say times change, but I was trying to do the silly thing. What is it? How the turntables, but it's the wrong context. But
you don't truly understand why the best players in this game consistently run Windows even when they're in a 4-man Swift. The way in which you can use Windows to perfectly optimize routing is where its actual strength lies. So now we're taking maps, an item that is completely fine how it is, and literally gigabuffing it to broken status. So
the reason people are using like flashlights and medkits over, they're not though, that like, I mean more so I guess, is because medkits are 1 heal that you just get for free, so it's just easy to just do. And flashlights are for, you know, the kind of cool saves. Toolboxes aren't as interesting because either you're doing the gen or you're kind of hovering around a hook to try and get a save. And maps are the least interesting because you're literally just using it to kind of look for totems, right? They're still really good. Like, say if the killer has a hex build, if you have a map, you fuck over the hex build. That's a really good add-on still, isn't it? It still is a good item to bring in. But they need to buff it because flashlights and medkits are like super good, so they need to make that even. And also, well, I guess we'll see with that, but what about insta-heals and stuff? Like, that's why people will be bringing medkits in. If you nerfed insta-heals, maybe less people would actually bring medkits. So now all of a sudden, you would get more of a balance. With Survivor, they have really good things and some like not so good. And they're like, okay, well, let's make the not so good really good. And then with Killer, they have some really good things and some not so good. And they're like, okay, let's make the not so good not so good. So now you use both of the not so good. Do you get what I mean? It's so biased. It's so you literally need to be super biased and blind to not see how the devs balance this game, man.
So that it matches the value of other broken things in the game, instead of reevaluating the strength of those other items to begin with. Again, this is something the build currency system would have prevented. But let's move on to keys. Keys are being reworked into essentially becoming an on-demand form of aura reading on the killer. How fun is that? Now, this already exists as the Blood Amber add-on, but it's going to become the focal point of the entire.
Yeah, so he's right with this. So the Blood Amber already is quite good. You said the killer within 32 meters, and it increases the depletion rate by 100%, so you lose the key quicker. But they want people to use the key more, and they want it to be, I think they said, I'm kind of quoting him now because I can't remember if they exactly said it, but as he says, they want the key to be about aura. So this, which is probably the strongest thing about the key, they want this like minimum, like without putting any all of the buffs on. So how's that gonna look? Seeing the aura of the killer like better than this. So he is right. That is this is the key now. Yeah, right. Seeing the aura of the killer is huge, huge. So he's right. Like and this is not even talking about the anti-tunnel, anti-camp, anti-slug. What they're adding too. Phase 2 is going to be insane, guys. I swear, Phase 2 is going to be insane.
Item base kit, and we already know just how much value.
One of you guys told me that the devs said they're going to be observing the kill rate on where it's going to like kind of land after Phase 2, and then maybe roll things back or whatever, depending how low the kill rate goes or something like this. Like.
Behaviors are being put into the design of these item reworks. They want them to be very.
I remember that's kill rate. So 2 kills is literally a draw, right? So 50% is a draw. We're currently at 62%, which I think you can get, 8 draws, 2 wins with that. But a win can also just be 3 hooks, and a draw can just be 2 hooks, because the win percentage, the kill percentage, remember, it's not win. They don't go off a win, which would actually give you at least a bit better ideas. Would it give you better ideas? Yeah, it would, because the kill, you can get 50%, like you could get 50% kills, which is only 2 kills, which is a draw. But if you got 50% wins, that means you'd have to win 5 out of 10 kind of thing. So you could get draws, you could literally get 50% with 10 draws out of 10, but you could get 50% with 5 wins and 5 losses, right? I guess you still could get all the draws though, right? But I don't like the kill percentage. But let's carry on.
Be strong, so we can expect keys to have a longer use duration.
I'm not fan where they use kills over wins. We've already done all the work now.
Team as well. If this
I
is
just can't remember it.
Something like Eyes of Belmont, it will essentially allow the survivors to have permanent wall hacks on the killer the entire match, or at least when it matters most. Who needs to learn check spots when it's literally impossible to win a mind game? Am I right? Also, with how strong they want to make these items, I'm already clenching my cheeks for the brand new survivor item they're going to bring to the game.
Oh yeah.
Is it going to be a trap for the killer, like a landmine, or maybe it's going to be...
Oh yeah, not only are they buffing keys and maps, they're also putting another item, aren't they? I forgot about that. Yeah.
Be the smoke grenade from one of the earlier events. Something like that would probably be my guess. And look, I already know where this is going. Brute strength perks and perks like Franklin's Demise are going to shoot up in use to counter this overpowered nonsense. And then behavior is going to be like, whoa, these perks are being used a lot. Maybe they're a wee bit too oppressive, and then they're going to get nerfed too. I just can't wait for it. So now let's move on to base kit anti-tunnel.
You can tell when people have played this game for a long time because they know what behavior do. They know the pattern of behavior. He's right. That would 100% happen. If they got really overpowered items, everyone would use Franklin's to try and get rid of them, and then behavior would nerf Franklin's.
anti-slugging and anti-camping, starting with base anti-tunnel. I think this one is actually pretty obvious if you've been listening closely over the past year. I'm speculating they're going to add base kit decisive strike, albeit a slightly weaker version, like with maybe a 3-second stun, and then the actual DS perk that we have now will be reworked into additional time added to the...
He might be right. They did that with Borrowed. He's got an angle there. It might sound outlandish, but that's what they did with Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time used to be a perk, and then they made it base, and then they made Borrowed Time stronger. Borrowed Time was like meta. It was like one of the strongest perks. Everyone used it. It was like one of the most used. And then they made that base, and then made one of the strongest perks better. But people don't bother using it because they can have it at base of what it used to be. For free, and then have 4 perks on top of it. So he could be right. They could potentially put DS on everyone, but a weaker version, but then buff the current version of DS, which means that people can have 4 perk slots and DS. That'd be fucking insane, by the way. And then if they do use the actual, the new DS, it's got like more benefits to it than the old one, but they don't use it as much because now they can have 4 perks and DS. Do you get me? So now they'll have Borrowed Time and DS and 4 perks, you see? So I can see that angle.
The devs play this game and still think these changes need to be made.
The devs need to organize them versus a strong 4-man every week so they stop getting so detached. That's all they need to do. One of the biggest things they did, and one of the I won't say the best, but a good thing they did, is they nerfed instant flashlights. On this game, the survivors used to be able to flashlight you within unreactable time. It was instant. So as soon as they just turned around, boom, you were flashlighted, right? And the devs thought that was completely fine. And then Matthew Court went to kind of show off the game in like a little showcase where he played killer against some actual competent survivors. And they showed how strong the flashlight were. Literally a week, maybe a month later, he nerfed the flashlight because he was so strong. You could see he was getting visually upset at it. You can look for it. It's like Matthew Court getting flashlight as Hag or something like that. You'll be able to find it. So if they did that all the time, every single week, they arranged like one of them to go against 4 strong survivors so they can get an idea of how the game feels when people are playing well, they probably would make better decisions and stop being so detached. The thing is, they don't do that. They're kind of like that, aren't they? They're like, no, they don't want to see it because they could. Blink, I think it was 65 months. So yeah, they're purposely getting detached from how this game is when you go against good players because their main focus is new players, new player experience, and all the vets push them away to, you know, the like a certain bracket where not many people can get into unless you know, they fall down the buffer a bit, and then you go against them, you know, only 1 game out of 10, and then, you know, they move back again. That's kind of how they treat it. That's how they treat it, man.
The stuns, sort of like what happened with Borrowed Time when it became base kit. So not to sound like a doomsdayer, but it is completely possible that we might be looking at a future with an 8-second stun decisive strike. Don't worry though, they'll move it down to 6 seconds after the PTB. All right, a base anti...
Dude, yeah, like he knows, like he's literally, like it makes sense. It's how they work. Like if you've been with this game as long as me and he has, you know the pattern, and he's right. That's what they would do. They would put it at base. They would obviously buff DS. People wouldn't use DS as much because, as I said, and then if 8-second DS is too much, then they would nerf it to 6, but it's still buffed. But then all the survivors are like, yeah, but it's nerfed now. It's nerfed. It's like way weaker. It's like, dude, it isn't way weaker. It's buffed. So you've got a buffed version. They probably wouldn't use DS though. I think they just take the 3-second DS for free. Could you imagine a whole team with 3-second DS for free? And that's just anti-tunnel. There's still anti-camp and anti-slug to go.
Slugging. I mean, the only option left here is some sort of base kit unbreakable. I'm not sure what that would look like exactly, like, because there's a few different ways they could go about it, but I'm fairly certain this is the only possible option left on the table at this point. I mean,
Let's think. Obviously, base kit unbreakable is the most obvious. Let's think what they could do. What could they do for anti-slugging, guys? They already tested Basic Unbreakable, and they saw that it wasn't doable. It like broke the game. Why would they bring it in? They already tested it. They did a PTB because they wanted to put Unbreakable in. Did they say that they weren't going to put it in? Or did they say, oh, this PTB is for us to kind of like work out how it's going to be to then put it in later? Because I assumed they weren't going to put it in. And I think a lot of people assumed that. But I wonder if it was for testing for this phase 2. Can't remember if they said. Well, this guy, he's more objective. Like, there's a lot of people blowing smoke up, like, really entitled survivors' asses. That's how the game is. Because, you know, it helps them. It's like, you know, it helps them as a streamer. They get all the survivor people watching them. They grow and blah, 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 blah. But me and Choi, and probably some others, we actually want the game... Like, we care about the game health, which is stupid. We should care more about our growth as streamers. I know, it's fucking stupid. But... we're passionate, I guess. I don't know. So I knew he would talk about stuff what just makes sense, right? Because it's objective. This shit's objective. But I wonder if, like, what else could it be other than basically Unbreakable? Devs are so good at manipulating people. Honestly, they constantly subvert expectations to see how far people can push stuff, then tone it down when there's no pushback. But wow, they're actually listening to us. Yeah, true. Remember this game, Blight, He'll be Nurse. Oh, yeah. Fucking hell. Penalties for actions, debuff to the killer movement vision. Yeah, I don't know. I agree that, like, there isn't so much they can go for, right? We'll make it buff for healing survivors.
Apply will make it buff for healing survivors while in dying state, making them quicker to get up off the floor and increase recovery.
Welcome to the Gem, thank you for the prime. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do here. Let's see, I guess. It could be Unbreakable. Unbreakable with base DS. Wait, wouldn't that create really like problematic situations though? Because you can't leave them on the floor and you also can't pick them up. So I guess you just take the DS then, I guess, yeah.
Already let survivors DC and skirt a loss, so honestly, like, what is left besides just making the killer die on the spot for the act of slugging? Lastly, there's base kit anti-camp.
Yeah,
do your hands feel held enough yet? Can you cross the road by yourself? Do you feel like you have the courage to...
And I'm not kidding you. People who play Survivor are in super Survivor echo chambers, and you can be like, "Yo, this is a killer echo chamber." Whatever, it isn't. It's an objective fucking echo chamber. Like, I don't care about what side. I can play either side. I call out the ridiculousness. If this was the other way around, I would call out the ridiculousness. But anyway, there's people in super Survivor echo chambers where they legit say the devs are killer biased, and they just try and do everything to help the killers. I shit you not, I've seen it, and it'll continue to be going on. Like, literally a second, someone will be writing that somewhere. It's fucking insane. Absolutely insane. Like, what are they doing to help the killer? What are they doing? Like, what? Making it really impossible for you to go after a survivor back to back while the survivors tunnel a gen completely for fine? Or, and then when you kick that gen 8 times, you can't do anything about it, but they can heal it infinitely? That's what they're helping killer with? Wait, that just sounded like they were just loads of help to survivor and loads of restrictions on killer. Like, what are you on about?
To play the game. So what's left that they can do to prevent camping at this point? I guess they could add the anti-camp progress to the solo queue HUD to help solo queue out. Maybe they'll visibly show the survivors the radius of the anti-camp so they know exactly where to stand to avoid slowing it down in game. They could also potentially add something like base kit camaraderie that slows hook progress down if the killer is nearby. Don't worry though, I'm sure it will deactivate in the end game. I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
It really feels like the devs want to create Blight by daylight with all of these ridiculous changes coming to the game this year. I know a lot of it's speculative, but recently my predictions about Behavior's horrible balance decisions are not only correct, but I end up being too lax and they actually end up doing something even worse than I imagined. So honestly, anything is possible at this point. So what about the killer buffs coming to the game? Good question. Another prediction I'm making is that the survivor spawn change that has been seemingly removed from the quality of life update
phase 1
will never actually make it to the live version of the game because it
again, some truth in this. The devs said they were going to do early game collapse, and they never did it. They never did it. Early game collapse, they literally said, our data has shown that the first gens, like the first 2 to 3 gens, is done way too quick. So we're going to put an early game collapse, kind of like corrupt intervention at base, to kind of circumvent this. They never did it.
Appreciate.
Thunderkitten, and thank you for the 35 months. They never did it. So maybe this is just another thing they never do. But this is phase 1. He's getting confused and thinking it's phase 2. This still can happen within this or next month. Then phase 2 gets applied, right?
It's the only true killer buff in the entire lineup. If it ever manages to find its way to a PTB, the outcry that it's too unfair for solo queue players will be so overwhelming, the behavior will either completely revert it, or they'll release it in a much more pathetic state than they originally planned. If only this same energy from the community could be applied to mid and low tier killer experiences as well. And finally, we have the MMR revamp. This is a big one. They're going to start accounting for more than just kills and escapes when calculating matchmaking rating. Now, I want you all to remember something. Not long ago, Patrick, the former behavior lead game dev, said that there were too many variables to do this properly, and now behavior is like, nah, we'll just wing it. The result, you're going to get some Frankenstein version of the old pip system mixed with MMR, and it's not going to work. Like, if I 4K by slugging everyone and bleeding them out, I win. But under the new system, I might lose MMR because I didn't hit the right performance metrics. This is just an...
Oh, and it's all hidden. Oh, I hate it. Show it. Show it. Imagine that, guys, right? This is to you OGs on the game. Imagine the emblem system, right, as it worked. You remember how wonky it were? You could kill like 4 people with not completing a gen and not get a pip, right? Or you could near enough like 10 hook and still not get a pip because they did the first 4 gens too quickly. Can you remember? So imagine that, but it's hidden. So you don't know what happened. Did I win? Did I not win? I don't fucking know. Imagine that. Fucking hell. Like we'd be grateful of nowadays if they do that, because at least nowadays when we get the free kill, we're like, we know that we won. If they do that, legit, you don't know if you've won. Legit, the game is lost. Like there is nothing. There's nothing. The people who like to like create their own rules, I don't know how the fuck they do it, but these people are like, oh, even though the game didn't say that this were a win, I'm going to say that a 3K is a win still. It's like, but the game might say it's a loss, and you're just saying it to yourself it's a win. Like, what the fuck? That's not how games work. You don't play chess, and then the first person who takes a bloody knight is the winner. No, you have to checkmate. Like, you can't just make all these weird rules like, how old are you? You know? Like, maybe when you're like 5 or something, but holy fuck. That'd be so bad if they do. Oh, God. As I said, the devs are the only people who can kill this game.
Incredibly short-sighted change. The old rank system wasn't perfect, but it made way more sense than whatever this is going to end up being. Just go back to that, fix the cheese and move on. Say what you will, but Patrick was right. There are quite literally too many variables to take them into account to create a truly accurate...
No, I don't think so. I think you should go off hooks. I think it should be hook metric on killer, and it should be kind of a percentage metric with survivor with... you know, how much gen kind of help you had, how many unhooks, did you escape, how many escaped. I think you could do it with Survivor, and you could class it as like the team, it'll be team-based, it'll be a team-based result, which would actually create more teamwork. With Killer, making about hooks and then bouncing around that would make it a lot more fun kind of gameplay loop as well. They'll never do that, but I'm just saying, I think you could do it that way, where both sides are treated a bit differently, because they are different. One's one person, right? So obviously you're going to score that differently, and the other is 4 people in a group, so you're going to score that differently because it's now a team. So I think it could work that way, but I don't think they'll do that at all.
What that means is that behavior is
and I don't think it needs to be that convoluted.
cost on keeping the MMR system, no matter how badly designed it is. And the more you sit down and think about it, the more reasons you'll uncover why this is going to be a waste of time and a total disaster. So another year, another pile of changes where behavior buffs Survivor base kit to oblivion and then wonders why killer mains are salty. And yeah, I get it. A lot of this is speculation on my part, but if history tells us anything, it's that my worst case scenarios are usually not pessimistic enough. That about wraps it up though. I'm annoyed that behavior is yet again forcing me to lawyer up in favor of killer mains, but if you can't see the insane bias towards Survivor in this era of DBD, then please
when he downs this person, everyone quit and fucking get a draw just to cherry on top of how bad it's getting.
let me know which type of glue you're sniffing so I can order some myself, because goddamn. But with all that said, let me know how you feel about the topics discussed in the video. Am I doomsdaying? Well, if I am, I have quite literally laid my sack ward on the table, and we'll all be able to see how many of my predictions come true for the rest of 2025. TCM. And with that, as always, much appreciated for watching the video. Make sure
TCM failed because they didn't produce content.
Sure to leave a like or dislike depending on if you are a piece of shit or not. And as always, have a
good sounded very passionate with that.
Good one.
Oh, you missed it. You missed it, man. You missed it. If you did that right at the end, that would have been right. You know, chef's kiss. Boom, 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 boom. Like you literally. You finish the video with your voice, right? And then it goes into the gameplay, and then it's all four of them. Then it just goes boom, 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 and then it finishes. That would have been, chef's kiss anyway. But yeah. I mean, pretty much what I expected. He's one of the more objective people who will actually say what they think. So it's always good to check that stuff out. If it is a title that kind of interests me, which that did. So you got a bit of a react. And add one for a bit. I should actually bring that back up. Why is my space going weird? Need to grab the title.
How's it going, everyone?
There you go. Reacting to. Yeah, that was a good video. It was a good video. Let's have a sexy Dracula. That was a good video. You love to react. Yeah, I know you do. But the thing is, I need to find something to react to, Like, it needs to interest me. But I know you like it. And I don't mind it. I am opinionated as fuck, right? So you're always going to get like a proper opinion regarding it. With your, well, I mean, you will like it. You will fucking like it. Leave him a like. Yeah, I can do that.
How's it going?
I should write something, shouldn't I, on the video? What should I write? Killer favorite game. I said, killer favorite game. Lol, good vid, man. Did a react, haha. There you go. Yeah, he made me think about one angle I didn't think about. The MMR system, if they make it where we don't even know what a win is. God. Oh, that would be sad, right? At least now we know it's a free K, so we can get that at least like that satisfying feeling that we won. But if you don't know what a win, like if you don't know if you've won or not, what the fuck? I really can't comprehend playing a PvP game where there's no winner or loser. I really can't. It sounds super uninteresting. Like, I know some of you think that's fine and that's cool, but like, as someone who's quite competitive, playing a PvP game where there's no winner or loser, what the fuck is the point playing? Like, seriously. It's almost like it feels almost like you're, like a bot or something. Like, nothing matters. I didn't think about that angle. No goal or anything to aim for, yeah. It's kind of how they did Meet Your Maker, though. Meet Your Maker didn't really have... I mean, still beating the base was still kind of a win, though, right? So, no, not completely. It would be its own kind of thing. You might just create DBD if they make it so you don't know if you win or not. Yeah, right? What the fuck is the point playing? What would happen is, because a lot of DBD is about like narratives, it's a lot about kind of, you know, mental gymnastics. People would still say things are wins when they're not, right? So if the devs made it where we physically don't know what a win is because it's based on an emblem system, but it's invisible, right? And there's nothing which could give us an idea if we won or not. If we got a 4K, we don't know if we won. If we got 0, we don't know if we won, right? There still will be people out there who, they'll be like, no, but I'm still going to say a 3K is a win. There will be, but you're not actually winning. You're just like making up your own rules at that point. And I don't work off that. I work off actual game creators' rules. That's how you're supposed to play games. So I wouldn't be able to do that. When if he'll react to my react. I don't think anyone's reacted to my react, actually. No, I haven't, Petar. Have you? Finally, listen to MMO won't be about kills on killer. Finally, it will be about folks. Well, we don't know that. You're just speculating. And I want to see it. Like, my main thing is I want to actually see it. I want to either see the MMR or have the MMR linked to ranks. Either or. So I know what level I'm playing at. I know what level I'm going against. Maybe some rewards for getting to high rank. You know? Add more ranks past iridescent, so it's really like, you know, you actually... Oh, God, it's so annoying. God damn it. They could actually have a really cool ranking system, man. It's fucking irritating. Fuck's sake, devs. All the games today? Same. We've had 2 Act Toxic, Get Toxics, which is cool. I know people like them. You got to Uri 1 with 300 hours. Yeah, it's meaningless. Meaningless. I don't know how some of these streamers do like road to Uri 1 from brown ranks or whatever. I don't even know why they do it. It's completely meaningless. It's so much more interesting when it actually means something. You know, when it's actually got like a difficulty to it. Is this all happening because words like tunneling got popular? I don't even know. You got to everyone with 120 hours. Yes, it's meaningless. There's no rank or like MMR's not linked to to your grade, they call it. They don't call it rank because then they'd be deceiving. So they call it grade. It used to be called rank. Yeah, individual ranks per killer. Oh, could you imagine? Can you vision like what I'm like what I have in my head right now? Like almost like you know, like a Marvel Rivals kind of, you know, ranking system. Not exactly that, but you know, where you're ranking up, or even like Fatal Fury, right? Or Street Fighter 6, right? Where just the ranking up system. Could you imagine it in this game? It'd be so cool. And then every season, if you get to the very highest rank, you get some like cosmetic awarded or some charm. Oh. Oh. Oh, it'd be good. Anyway, leave a like on the YouTube video. I'm going to put all that up, even the post chat. Enjoy.